In this video, I'm going to talk about Approvals Kit. Approvals Kit is a solution built by PowerCat team to provide advanced out-of-the-box no-code solutions for utilizing approvals in Microsoft Power Automate. Now, it is a no-code ready-made kit built on top of Power Platform. Now, if you remember Center of Excellence Starter Kit, it is on the same line. It is built by a separate team. It is not directly involved directly with the product, but you can install it separately in Power Platform. Approval Kit is built with around 24 cloud flows as of now. So I'm talking about the month April 2024. Approval Kit is built on top of Approvals Connector, which is already present within Microsoft Power Platform Power Automate. Approvals Kit can be used in Dataverse environment only and does not support Teams for Dataverse environment. So if you have Teams for Dataverse environment, then Approvals Kit will not be able to, you'll not be able to utilize Approvals Kit. Now, this solution is free of cost, but there's one catch. You need to consume premium licenses. So if a user who is either authoring the flow or utilizing the flow, then that user needs to have a premium license because at the back end, it uses a lot of premium functionality, which will then require premium licenses from a user perspective. Now, it's built by the PowerCat team. Approval Kit is composed of approvals connector. It consists of creator kit, manage solution, custom connector. So there are a lot of prerequisite before you install Approval Kit. So you need to have approvals in place, which is by default available out of the box in Microsoft Power Automate. You just need to enable that. You need to install create a kit, and then there are some other prerequisite in terms of app registrations. In the upcoming videos, I would be covering a lot of topics with regards to approvals kit, like installation of approval kit, configuration of approval kit, how to configure the reports, app walkthrough, simple approval, multi-stage approvals, approval configuration, approval designers, approval overrides, setting up the work profile, setting up public holidays, out of office scenarios, timeout scenarios, configuring work profile, configuring delegation, locks and exception, versioning, and various other things. So this would be like a multi-part video series whereby I'll be covering each and every topic with regards to approval kit, as and when we go through various changes, what's happening within the approval kit solution. Now, this is how the application looks like. Now, this is a model-driven app. Once it is installed, you will have a model driven app whereby you can go ahead and author your flow, the configuration of the flow. Now, basically, this from this interface, you will create some entries in the model driven app. And when you use Power Automate to author the flow, at that point, you will be referring to the items created over here. So you can author a flow, a simple flow, you can author a complex flow, you can author a multi-stage, multi-level approval flows. So those all things can be done using approvals kit. On the left hand side, you will see approvals functionality in Microsoft Power Automate. So Power Automate has this connector approvals. In the approvals connector, you can create an approval. You can start and wait for an approval. You can start and wait for an approval of text. You can wait for an approval. Now, these are limited. However, if you start using approvals kit, then you will see a lot of things happening. You can create business approval process, and all this configuration is now offloaded and it's done in the model driven app, which I just showed you. There are some resource link which you can access to understand how the approval kits is built, from when the development started, how to utilize approvals kit, what are the use cases, what are the scenarios, and you can also help in the development of the product. So you can suggest feature to Microsoft that if you intend to see some features, if you see a bug within the application, please report it to in the GitHub repository. Now make sure that any security related bug, there's a different channel to report it. So you can go ahead and be a part of this development process. License requirement, as I mentioned to you, approval kit is built on premium features. Now the requirement is basically, once you start using approvals kit, power apps per user or per app licenses will be consumed. Dataverse environment. So you need to have a Dataverse environment in place. And for some aspect, you may need Power Automate process license if you are intend to build some process flows. Now, it is not all mandatory, but the thing which is mandatory is you need to have a Dataverse environment and you need to have a Power Apps or Power Automate premium license to run this flow. Now, why to use Approval Kit? Now, first thing, it is a trusted solution. It is built by the PowerCat team. So it is a trusted solution. Now, the approvals kit is not just a normal approvals kit which is provided out of the box using Power Automate connectors. This can go to a great length to become a more complex flows. It can utilize more complex flows. You can add conditional branching. You can author your flow. So there is a nice authoring canvas. You can delegate the approval process. You can override the approval process. Timeouts can be considered while designing the approval flows. You can set up out of office configuration. So if you see in April 2024 release, there is an out of office configuration feature which is now extended to Microsoft 365 apps as well. Now, we can even have a backup for delegates, organizational calendars, weekdays or calendar days, and then we can even reassign the flows. From a persona perspective, we have Power Platform Administrator, Approvals Administrator, and Approvers in a very high level. Approvers are the person who actions the approval request. Now, how the person can approve the request is they need to go into Power Automate, and in Power Automate on the left hand side, they will get an approval link, or they receive a notification in Microsoft 365 apps like Outlook or Teams. Approvals Administrator. Now, Approvals Administrator configures the kit, defines the approval process. Power Platform Administrator import approval kit solution and updates the approval kit solution whenever the new version is made available. So these are the three major roles, but there might be other roles which can get involved within the application, but this is at a very high level three roles which is required for the application to perform perfectly. Solution statistics. Now, I have installed April 2024 release. This is a version number. It has 29 tables in the backend. It has 24 cloud flows, 4 connection references, 29 web resources, one model driven app, which I just showed you the screenshot, one custom connector, 3 environment variable, 4 pages, and there are many other things as well within the solution. This is how the solution looks like at a very high level, and you can see that the prefix is like cat underscore business approval management. This is the model driven app which hosts the designer interface, and thereby here you can create a approval. So this is the basically the composition of the solution. There are many cloud flows which runs in the backend. Now this cloud flows basically undertakes various sub processes within the functionality of the approval scenario, like uh, checking copying the process, evaluating the rule, getting the dynamic approvers, cascading the process status, approver out of office, approval timeout. So there are so many things which is all available over in the cloud flows. Then there are a couple of connection references. Now here there is a connection references for the approvals functionality, connection references for Dataverse, connection reference for O365 users to get profile information, Microsoft Graph mailbox for out of the office information. So all these things are clearly documented in the connection references section. Now, custom controls, there's like a panel and a process designer which is being used, and that's the reason you need to have the create a kit solution installed within the application. There are 3 environment variables, and then there are 4 pages as you see over here. Limitations. Now, limitations, approval kit consumes 30 actions, so around 160 or 30 approval action based on per user or per app plan. Now, for a single process. Now that means there's a lot of activity going on in the backend once you see that approval mechanism in place. Now it only supports English language. Now there are a couple of limitation earlier which was fully integration with Outlook out of office or conditions can't be applied at the first stage, but those things are getting normalized now. Third party plugins, say take for example, if you want to connect this approval system with another approval system, currently you cannot do that. It is a continuously developed solution, so quite possible that there might be some sort of an instability. However, the solution has really started to taking a good shape. So I would say like currently it is like a stable solution. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what I have installed. So if you see over here, I have installed business approval kit, which is like a approval kit. Now here the solution is business approval kit. If you navigate inside, you will see all the applications. So there is currently one app. There are 24 cloud flows. Then there are one custom connectors, two custom controls, and three environment variable. Environment variable are basically to check out of office days, enable O365 mailbox settings, and approval kit org URL. This is how the approvals kit looks like. So let me do a full screen. Now here, there are various things which I'm going to explain in the upcoming videos, but this is the home page. This is how you configure a workflow, how you link a workflow, configure basic settings. So if you click on configure basic settings here, you can check, you can put delegates, backup delegates, Outlook notification, select the work profile, associate a public calendar holiday. So those all things you can do over here. If I just go back, I can show you approval overrides. You can here you can do an approval overrides. Here you can see various workflow instances which was existing when I drafted a workflow. Then when the workflow started running, then it created a workflow instances, and you can actually see within the workflow instances where it is, what is the status of it. Then there is a node instance, then there is an approval instance. So I'm not going to go through all this thing, but this is just, I'm just giving you a glimpse of how the uh, application looks like. Now I'm in the approval designer tab area. Now approval designer tab area contains processes, stage, nodes, reference data, conditions, approvers, and it contains various runtime definitions. So here you can actually design the process. So if I click on new process designer, I can actually design using GUI. So using interface, I can design the workflow. So take for example, if I want to design a workflow for a leave management system, so I get this canvas. It's a modern process designer. I can configure variables. I can see the versions. I click on add stage, and here I can say stage one, approval by manager. And this is how I can create a stage. I can even put a condition, if else or switch, based on some condition this should trigger. I'll click that stage, and from here I can add a node. Now here I can have approval type as approve reject. Everyone must approve first to respond. Wait for all responses. So like this, I can draft those particular things. So this is the canvas basically. And here you can see runtime stages, runtime nodes. So there are a couple of instances which are already being run. So those things you can view it over here. Now, there is a GitHub repository. So here I'll share the URL as well. Now this GitHub repository is completely maintained by Microsoft, and here you will see all the activity happening within the GitHub repository. So a couple of things to notice that this was started 2 years ago. Okay, so this repository was initiated 2 years ago. So that means there's a lot of effort gone from the community. There are like whole bunch of contributors who are contributing to the solution, and there are 6 releases which has been done. So if you want to install this particular application, first make sure that you read through this content here. They will give you a whole bunch of information about the releases and how to report a bug, how to submit the issue, how to contribute, because it's an open source code of conduct. You can see over here, you can contribute to the repository as well, and also how to report security issue. So if you want to download the solution, what you can do, you can go into the releases, and from here you can navigate to the current release, which is in April 2024. And from here there is a nice documentation provided by Microsoft, and here you can find the assets. So this is how you can download all the managed solution. So that's it, folks. This is just a basic introduction of what approvals kit. What I'm going to do in the upcoming videos, I'll try to cover small topics so that we can start with the installation, updation, configuration of approvals kit.